Come with us now, if you dare, down a rickety staircase into a dank, dark basement. What awaits? The Saturday Night Freak Show.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Saturday Night Freak Show podcast, the movie review and talk show podcast that comes your way every Saturday, whether you're ready for it or not. These are the Internet Radio Superstars.
Holly.
Sean.
Michaela.
And I'm Colin. And tonight we watched a movie that was chosen by...
Michaela, what do we watch tonight?
Looker.
Ooh,
Yes.
all right, from the year.
1981.
81, directed by...
And written by Michael Crichton.
Michael
Michael
Crichton.
Welcome to the wall,
Okay.
Michael Crichton.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
MF
gotta
Bad,
be. Gotta
the
be.
Saturday Night Freak Show keeper of the wall.
Thank you, sir.
So you know the movies that we've put him on the wall for.
Runaway.
Yes.
Westworld.
Yes.
And now
we did Westworld.
Looker. Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
yeah.
Runaway.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
So there you go. Yeah, Michael Crichton.
What do we know about Michael Crichton?
He writes things.
Yeah.
He studied to be a doctor.
Oh,
right?
we also did Congo, which he wrote but didn't direct.
Right.
Did we do
technically-
Congo?
Did
Yeah.
we do Congo?
Yeah.
Amy,
You
the
brought it.
talking
Did
gorilla.
Yes. We did it.
we did
now you got me
Congo.
second guessing myself.
That's-
I'm
no,
pretty
that's
sure
not-
we did.
That is
you're
on,
right. You're right.
We all know that's on brand for me. Just
Yeah.
completely
Very,
forget
but
what
it's
I
just
bring.
like,
What do
I
you
don't
know
remember
Michael
watching it
Crichton
here.
from? I mean, like, what is the... when you-
Jurassic Park.
Oh, geez, Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Park,
that's
yeah.
the first thing I think of.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then ER, I thought, of Michael
yeah,
Crichton.
ER,
But
yeah.
it's like he is like a science fiction guy
Yes.
up to a certain point, it seems like, right? I mean, it is kind of ironic, I guess, that, like, you know, ER is like a big, you know, I guess because he was a medical doctor, right?
Yeah.
Or studied to be. Because, like, he wrote the Andromeda Strain.
Right.
How far did he go into medical school? Like,
See,
did
I
he-
don't
It
think
doesn't
he
feel like that
became
far.
a practicing. I don't
Right.
think he was
Like,
practicing.
did he do like a year of med school and then he was like, I'm out? Or did he
Maybe.
like do like med school and then he didn't do his residency?
'Cause
Like,
I
how far
also
did he go?
Didn't he, like, study to be a lawyer or something? And some of that may
I
be
think
off.
he did a lot of theory,
Yeah.
and then the practice was where he didn't do it.
Okay.
It
and then
feels
just
like.
took that knowledge that he got and applied it into...
Is he like Pauly Shore and Son-in-Law where he just like studied everything for a semester?
Maybe.
I think so. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like, because
Yeah.
it feels like he did a lot of different things.
But I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that he moved so quickly, it seems like, from being a novelist into a filmmaker. I mean, he was a director, right? Because before this,
Yep.
Westworld was the first one that he
I
did.
believe so.
Did he direct Coma?
I think, I'm sorry, I'm looking at his writing credits right now. We
Coma.
can't forget that he also wrote the novel that Sphere was based on.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Which we also
right.
did. And Holly, he wrote your favorite movie ever, Twister.
Yeah.
He
Him
did
and his
write
wife
Twister.
wrote
Yes.
He
Twister.
did
yeah.
write Twister. I love
Yeah.
I was
that.
like, we can't
God,
move past this.
I love Twister.
Yeah,
so
but he also did, like,
much.
Rising Sun.
Yep. Mhm.
Was
Let's see.
Disclosure, I think, was a Michael Crichton novel. I
So
mean,
his first movie was Pursuit, and then it was Westworld, and then Coma was
but
after
they had made a
Westworld.
movie on the Andromeda Strain. He didn't direct it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just looking
So
at
it's
his
like no
director
matter
credits,
what Michael Crichton does, I can never hate him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ever.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I can
considering
never
his,
hate him.
his bona fides.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like I did Twister.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it. Okay.
Yeah, I think
You're
I mean,
fine.
politically later on, he was. I don't.
No, he's been dead for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
You're
Twister
dead, you don't
even seems like off-brand for Michael Crichton, right? I mean, there's no doctor.
The science of it.
The
It's
science.
Yeah,
science.
yeah.
Just the science
He's
angle
in
of
it
it.
for
This
the
man
money, not
loved-
the science.
It's the giant monster. Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't have instincts, and he doesn't have Dorothy. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
for
did
the
get a lot
money.
of, like, this Looker felt kind of like it was from the same, cut from the same cloth as, like, Coma.
Yeah, the
Or
coma kept coming to
Runaway.
mind for
Runaway,
this
yeah.
because between this Runaway and Coma, there's the feel is very similar. I
Yeah.
mean, they're all coming from the same era, but
So, okay, so yeah, Looker. All right. So this is 1981. What? Who's in it? Who's in Looker?
Albert Finney, probably top billed in this.
On a hot streak.
Yeah, 3 movies in 1 calendar year this
Yeah.
year.
What were
they said he left the set of this movie on a Friday, went home for the weekend, then on Monday was on another set
Yeah.
for a different movie.
What
So
were the other two? Wolfen was one of them. Because he had done Scrooge. Remember, he like became famous because he was in Tom Jones or whatever when he was younger, right?
yes, yeah, I
English
remember
movie,
that.
and then
Yeah.
worked for a period of time. I remember seeing him in Scrooge, the musical.
Yeah,
Christmas
Wolfen
Carol.
was the same year, and
Yeah.
Loophole.
Loopholes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
No.
Looker. Later, he's like Aaron Brockovich,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And the Bourne movies,
I just
right? Was he
watched
like
him-
the
Bourne
head of
movie, yeah.
Treadwell or
Yeah.
Treadstone?
Treadstone,
watched-
yep.
I just watched him in a movie yesterday.
Which one?
Ocean's 12.
He's in that too?
His
Yeah.
last movie of all time of his career,
Ocean's
Skyfall.
12. Oh, Skyfall. Oh,
Skyfall.
He was in Skyfall.
That's right. It was at the end of
That's a good last movie.
Yeah.
to have.
Yeah, that's a good way to go out.
Mhm.
Was he in the one in Big Fish or no?
Albert
Yeah.
Finney?
Was he
Was
was
he
the dad?
What-
Yeah.
Was he the dad?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was in Big Fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like he was older Ewan McGregor.
Is that wild that like maybe I'm
I
not
think
giving
so.
Albert Finney his like fair due. He has been in a lot.
been in
of
a
stuff
lot.
that's
He's been a
Yeah.
lot, and
very
he's
good.
never not good.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
I've always
great,
enjoyed
yeah.
Albert Finney. Whenever he shows up, I'm like, oh, good. He's here.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, we like Albert Finney.
He was in the
Again,
Bourne movies too. I
Aaron,
forgot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Brockovich was
Treadstone.
the one, I think, where I got introduced to Albert Finney.
Yeah, because that
Younger.
was like, was he nominated? The movie was
I think
nominated.
he might have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that one.
Yeah, and I remember there was like a kind of a. I think that led to like all these later movies that we just mentioned was off of the success.
Yeah.
Because there's like a period before that where I'm like, what happened to Albert Finney? And then all of a sudden he's back, and then a bunch of stuff. Who else is in the movie?
Hold
Susan
on.
Day.
Yeah, Susan Day.
We all know from.
L.A. Law, probably.
Partridge Family.
Yeah, Partridge
Sure.
Family.
I don't know.
LA
I
Law,
see
yeah.
her and I'm like, I think I know you from a couple of the things.
Right.
And then just I look through her credits. I'm just like, nope. But she's just got that look. Got
Yeah.
that 70s look that maybe a lot of people share, which is why I think she looks familiar. Like I said, she got 70s eyes. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
And James Coburn, I guess, was the other big
James
player in the
Coburn.
movie. So we're like, James Coburn's going to be the bad
James
guy.
Coburn from The Last Hard Men. If you remember that Western with a great title.
That's
yeah,
an
that's the
amazing
name
title.
of the
I
movie.
love
The Last
it.
Hard Men.
What? Fuck yeah. I love
exactly. Also Maverick.
And Maverick, yeah.
Which, and a
And
plethora-
classic
a
Western.
plethora
Yeah, the
of other
Magnificent
things.
Seven.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
James
Is he the
Coburn did
knife
a lot of stuff.
thrower in the Magnificent Seven?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't
know.
remember.
Okay, so what's the get us into this? What is Looker? It's a science fiction movie. I
Yes.
guess we should tell the people at home who are unfamiliar with this.
It's a science fiction movie. It leans heavily into those early 80s vaporwave aesthetics, a lot of neon colors, computer generated like nonsense graphics. The green
love
lines on the floor we'll
Oh,
get
I
to
love it.
later.
I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly. This movie
Looks like Tron.
it came out a few months before Tron, and it actually it gets overlooked for all the credits that Tron gets for computer graphics because this actually did them 6 months earlier.
Nice.
So this was actually technically the first movie to do 3D shading, not
Oh, really?
Tron. Yes.
Wow.
Oh.
But nobody went and saw this movie in theaters, so nobody knows that. This
Yeah.
movie came out the exact same day as Halloween 2.
Oh,
Wow.
So no one saw this.
And what's the
Right.
connection with Halloween 2?
The
That-
nurse.
there-
Tawny. Tawny.
yeah.
The
She's a nurse in Halloween 2, and she's a model
Yes.
in this one, in
Yep.
a commercial in this movie.
So all these beautiful women are going to Albert Finney, who's a famous Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, and they're saying, I need like down to the millimeter, like this bump on my chin is 1 millimeter too high, like my cheekbones are this 0.4 millimeters too high or whatever.
And these women are
She-
gorgeous.
Yes.
Right.
So
She's
it's
like,
like,
my
what?
areola is 5 centimeters long.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
Pretty sure that is, yeah.
And they have like full printouts of all their measurements, like down to the millimeter. And so, and he's telling her like these changes are like imperceptible. Why do you want them? And she's like, well, I do commercials and they like take in every, inch or whatever. And so he does them. And yeah, she doesn't look different to us because
Right.
it's
Right.
millimeters of changes.
Just further proof that the microscope on the female body has
Mhm.
just always been there forever.
Yeah.
From then
Mhm.
until now.
And suddenly the other girls that had plastic surgery from this doctor start dying and dying in like mysterious ways or ways that look like suicide.
Yes.
So what the first one that we're introduced to, the model who came in and wanted the millimeters worth of plastic surgery. So yeah, I guess set this up for us because I suppose it's the hook scene, right, for
Yeah.
the movie. What happens there?
So she's in her apartment in her underwear,
As you do.
Yes, as you do.
She's a model,
And stilettos. Yep.
I'm constantly in my apartment in underwear. Not stilettos.
And
but
stilettos, yes.
sometimes.
Well, she's waiting for Bob. I mean,
Yeah.
Bob's coming home.
Yep. So she goes to the door because someone rings the doorbell, and we see a big flash of light in her eyes, and then she's just kind of dazed and starts stumbling around her apartment until eventually, you know how you get caught in your curtains.
You know how you wind around in
Yeah.
your curtains.
This reminded me of Terror Train, where once again gets caught in the sexy netting and turns around and falls off.
Yes.
You know how you get caught in your curtains?
Yeah, you twist around your curtains and fall off the balcony.
Yeah.
But
every day.
Yeah,
but
it's a little Lethal Weapon as well.
That's what I kept on transpo in my memory. I'm like, was that Looker or Lethal Weapon?
Yeah.
But I love that they do a little bit of foreshadowing because we get a shot when she's walking around of the curtain, like because it's a billowing.
In
it's
the
like
breeze.
It's like and there's like a little wind chime sound, like it's ominous almost.
Yeah.
It's like hinting like this curtain's up to no good. But it's she's got her balcony.
Ominous curtains.
Yes, it's a thing. It's in so many movies, like the magical wind that blows the ominous curtain.
Yeah, every window's shut and it's just like a breeze. Yeah.
And she goes out on her balcony because she's dazed by this light that flashed in her eyes, gets tangled up in her sheer curtains, and falls over the balcony to her death.
So there's a couple of things that I guess that happen in this scene that we're supposed to remember. And one of them is the flashlight.
Yep.
There's like several, because it's accompanied by a sound, right? But then she, goes to the door. There's nobody there because there's a flashlight. Then she looks in her dog is somehow now in a closet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a case on her bed where apparently a gun came out of, but there's nobody in the apartment. And then we see there's a mustachioed shadow.
With the craziest ski visor sunglasses
Huge,
you've ever seen. Huge and reflective.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
It's Lionel Richie.
So it is, because all we get is really good big hair.
Yeah.
and
A
mustache.
huge mustache
Yeah.
and then sunglasses.
Yeah, the profile is
I'm
100%.
just waiting for it to be like, hello.
Yeah, pretty sure there's billowy curtains in that video.
Oh, definitely.
So I guess what I was taking from it, because this is my first go through really with this movie, was that, somehow she's losing time. These flashes are she's forgetting something that was there.
Right.
There's a guy in her apartment, but she forgets that he's there because he has something that is causing this flash and wiping her mind. And then she eventually gets confused and goes over. So it's like, okay, now we're going to go into the mystery of who's killing these models and why.
Not the why.
Take away your watch. Take away your watch.
That's a great question, Colin.
Okay, so if a movie sets that up, though, this is what I guess a complaint would be. That's the deal they're making with you. You go in and it's like, okay, it's a mystery, a murder mystery. People are dying. Why are they dying?
Who's doing it and why?
I want the answer to
all
both
you want
those questions.
Right.
Yes.
If I don't get those, is the deal off?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's a failure.
It is possible that I'm just stupid, and so you guys are going to help me out as we
always
talk
possible that
about
we're
this
stupid.
movie and try to figure out why these women.
Colin, I'm here
dying.
to tell you you're not stupid. Pretty sure.
So Albert Finney then becomes basically the detective of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Because this is what Michael Crichton's going to do. He's going to put a doctor or somebody with medical knowledge in a. Because
I mean, his reputation is getting dragged through the mud with all of his patients dying, so he's got a
Very
stake in
true.
this.
Oh,
You know,
he's got to take
That's
action.
right. Because
Another
some of
girl has
his
died.
well, and some of his personal items are conspicuously left
A
at
pen,
the crime
yes.
scene.
a button. Yep.
Okay.
A button, yeah.
So we're like, okay, this is going to be a frame up job. They
Yeah.
want to frame him for her murder. Again, this kind of is now giving me the question of
Why?
why exactly,
Yes.
because otherwise it would look like a suicide or an accident. But why are we trying to pin it on the doctor, knowing what
Great
we know?
question, Colin.
Fantastic question.
So we're
Great
saying nobody
question.
knows the answer to this.
I know the answer. I'm going to save it for about an hour from now. And
Okay.
I'll let you know
Okay.
at our wrap ups.
All right. All right. So another woman comes to the clinic and she is distraught.
Yes.
And what does she tell the doctor?
I don't remember what she said.
There's something you get the
Turn me back.
Oh, yeah.
Change me
You
back
gotta
to what I
change me
was.
back.
They're killing all the perfect girls.
I'm too perfect.
I'm too perfect, and they're killing all of them. Please help me. But it's vague from that point on because Albert Finney's not asking the right questions.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and he's
Because-
like, well, have you talked to the police? The police are in on it.
It's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
It goes to the highest level and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Straight
I
to
am
the
getting
top.
out of here. Because that's right. The police do come over to his office and begin interrogating him like this is a murder investigation.
Yeah.
And the police officer realizes, right, it's his pen that was at the dead girl's apartment
Yep.
and his cufflink is there.
Yep. You ever
So-
date your patients, doctor? It's like, no, never. It was an interrogation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He doesn't,
So-
he doesn't fool around with his patients.
And he gets a call, right, from this patient. I think her name was Tina.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No. Why was he going over to her apartment?
I got nothing.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
This is
so
like a...
Tina
Is this
Tina
the one
said
who
that
came to
she
the office?
Yeah.
Tina said that she was going to leave town. She's going to go to Chicago to see her family and get away from it,
Right.
and then have a doctor there turn her back. And then as she, like right after she said that, he gets a call in his office from supposedly someone in Chicago calling Tina. And she's like, how the hell are they calling me? Nobody knows I'm here. What is this? And then she freaks out and she's like, I forgot my bags, and runs out of the office.
Right. Leaving behind her purse.
Leaving her
and
purse,
A
yeah.
portfolio of some sort, but leaving behind her stuff.
Yeah.
She's very distraught and he wants to figure out what's
yeah.
going on.
And her little vial of cocaine.
Her,
So
well,
that,
I
of
mean, he
course,
searches
Her
for
vial
the
of
little
cocaine.
vial of cocaine.
Yeah.
well,
I'm not going to hold it
adds
against her.
suspicion to whether she is...
Right. Well,
paranoid?
because the police officer had said, like, normally these girls would have, drug problems or something, but these are all clean girls. They don't do any of that stuff, and they don't have depression. So why they're dying is a mysterious thing. And then he's like, well, but this one has cocaine, so maybe she's in this stuff. I don't know. But then he ends up getting worried about her, so he's going to go check on her.
Is that why he went to her house? Because I
Yeah.
thought, like, he
Yeah.
rushes over to the house.
Yeah.
And he calls the police and tells them, I'm going over to her house.
Yeah, it's a very chaotic scene, and the woman kind of leaves in a hurry, and leaves all this stuff behind. So he's like, "All right, I feel like I should go check on her." He does tell his secretary, "Hey, call the cop who was just here interrogating me. Tell him I'm going over there because something's going on."
Yeah. This
So
is
then he
an
goes over
alibi, right? You're saying that he's setting up.
Well, this is what you said. It's like he's setting up an alibi.
Well,
he's concerned about her
Yeah.
and wants to figure out what's
He
going
wants
on.
the cops to go there in case
Yeah.
something is going on
Right.
because I can't remember. It seems like he thought she was going to be a victim. She was going to be targeted somehow. And that's why he's like, I got to get over there. I got to get the cops over there because something is happening.
Yeah,
I
something's
don't remember
going on.
if she had called the office and I just saw this movie. But anyway, he arrives at her apartment building, big skyscraper,
Yep.
just as she comes flailing
Flying
off the balcony.
Yep.
And my God.
Oh wow, the stunt woman,
Wow.
who did this landing because she goes off her balcony onto the roof of a car, and this stunt person landed on the roof of a car.
In a nightie and like her it's
Look,
very vulnerable outfit.
Right, because you look for
no
the-
padding in this.
Right,
yeah.
you look
None
for the protection
whatsoever.
a stunt person
Yeah.
would have
But no,
when they're
this
landing
is-
on something.
This is slow motion. We want you to see this impact because it's that impressive.
Yes, and she
The
gets
bounce after
right. She
she
gets
hits.
power bombed
Yeah.
onto this car.
She does.
It looked like she almost got folded in half.
Yeah.
It was like, holy fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen anything
No,
like it.
right.
It was.
You're hoping that,
That was
woman was
intense.
okay
It was
afterwards?
believable.
Yeah.
You hope everyone's
Yeah.
okay, and I gotta assume they were because they put it in the movie. But-
Yeah. I'm going to put that up there as one of, I mean, you've seen people landing on cars in hundreds of movies.
Sure.
I've never seen like that.
Yeah.
This is one of the best ones I have ever
Yeah.
seen.
It's like, oh, audible
It hurt.
reactions.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's okay. I think she was.
But the character, alas, is dead. And
Yeah.
so here's Albert Finney. Of course, he rushes up to the apartment, and when the police arrive, he's the guy standing on the balcony. Oh, he sees.
He sees the guy.
Yes.
He's the guy, yeah.
The guy, the mustache.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie.
Yep. So
Mustache
we
and
know
eyes.
she's been pushed off the balcony or something.
Yeah.
So he, there's another character, and this is Susan Day. She is a model who wants some work done, right? Because she's going to
Or
be
she
in
got
these
work
commercials. She got the work
She
done.
got the work done because she's going in for like a checkup. She's like, do I look as good as
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones? Like, how's everything look and everything? You-
Post-op procedure. Yeah.
basically, yeah.
and kind of a little bit of a romantic tension there between
Yeah, she
the two of
wants,
them. That,
it's they talk about later. It's like, oh, the patients, they always want to date their doctors, and
Right.
there's
Like appreciative male patients will send gifts as appreciation,
right.
but
a watch, whiskey, whatever.
whatever. But the women fall in love. That's
Right.
their gift.
It's their gift. It's a gift of their own. That's what they say. It's like,
Fuck
okay, but there is that flirtation between them. It's just like, you ask me out. It's like, nah, I don't date my patients. Then he later on does ask her to a fundraiser and what have you. But yes, there is that relationship between them.
Does the fundraiser come first or the shoot on the beach?
I think the beach shoot.
Okay.
'Cause that's where we learn about how the technology works.
Beach, yeah.
So
digital matrix.
Digital Matrix,
yes, DMI.
what is digital matrix and how does it factor into these? How is it a clue?
So they basically have this computer program that comes up with like the ideal way this commercial needs to look, and that means like how her body moves,
or the ideal way she should look in the commercial.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and like it has like a green outline shape of her that goes across the screen. It is like those Wii video games where you have to hit it perfectly, or like
it's like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to get through the opening perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah. And she's slightly off in this jump she's doing on the sand.
Yeah, and landing on the sand.
Yeah.
And everything. They're trying to match a digital version.
So the computer has it's saying in order to have like the maximum impact for your commercial.
You have to hit this mark.
Yeah. And the human actress is just not able to do it perfect.
Right.
Terry Kaiser's the director of this. And it's basically like, okay, we're not going to get it cut.
Yeah.
But I think somebody invites her because like the digital matrix van is there. And we also know that all the other women who came to the doctor for plastic surgery had a digital matrix printout that told them all the millimeters off that they're, in order to become perfect. So he's like, digital matrix has something to do with this.
And so going through the commercial and everything, they're just like, all right, we're not getting it. Go to digital matrix, get your body scanned so that we can complete this. We can figure it out. So,
and Albert Finney's
which seems like the scam that gets every one of these girls to go to digital matrix.
Yes.
Like, we didn't quite get it. It's not perfect. We need you to go do this to make this better.
And he sees, I can actually go and see how this outfit operates.
Yeah.
So he's kind of using her as like bait. She thinks that he's romantically interested in her. He's just curious about like, okay, what is this digital matrix
But the way
thing?
he goes about it is really funny because he takes her to the fundraiser, they have dinner, and then he takes her back to his place and like carries her to the room, but then just like leaves her there. He's like, this is my guest room. You're going to stay here. See you in the morning. And just like has her spend the night.
Just wants
like
to make sure she's
just
okay.
like a sleepover.
Yeah,
just
wants to make sure she's okay.
We're
She's like,
gonna
you're
have
drunk. I'm
smags.
going to take you into this.
Yeah.
I do like how
we're
it
gonna
lays
have
it out.
smags
It's
and
like,
coffee.
Here's
and
this. Bathroom's right
this
over
is the
there.
time I
And
wake
this
up.
is as they're like an inch from each other's faces.
She's
very
laying
flirty.
on the bed and he's
Very
laying on
flirty.
top of her. He's laying on top of her.
Yeah, it's very flirty, but it's like the bathroom's
like-
over there. Everything you need is over there.
Yeah.
There's eggs and coffee in the morning.
I get up at 6:30. Good night.
Good night.
She's like, where are you going?
But like, I respect it.
No, I like it. I think it's funny.
I like it.
I think it's funny. And then like the next morning he was like, well, I'm going to drive you to work. And she's like, you are? He's like, yeah, I'm going to stay with you all day and watch you work.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
That's weird. Yeah.
That's so goddamn
like,
weird.
He gets into weird. He's doing it to be like,
imagine you want to go on a date with someone and they're like, the next morning after not sleeping together, but making them sleep over.
Yes.
Like, okay, well, now I'm going to drive you to work and I'm going to watch what you do all day.
And she does question it. She's like, as she's putting bags of ice on her eyes so she doesn't get puffy.
Yeah.
She's like, you do all this? You didn't come on to me last night. Like,
she's offended. Yeah.
She's like, aren't I attractive? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, aren't I attractive?
And
like,
he's just like, and he's just ignored. He's like, are you done with your eggs?
Yeah.
it's like, it's like we need to go to work. Yeah. It's like,
That's
I'm gonna
right.
follow you today.
Like it's just not addressed how weird this is.
right. It's because
she
they're coming
says,
at it.
this is weird. I like that they cut to her with bags of ice.
Yeah.
This is weird. And she's talking about the situation.
But she's like, it's weird. But then she like is fine with it.
Yeah,
Right.
well, she
Like,
thinks
all right,
he's
well, let's go
interested
to
in her.
work.
Yeah,
And
but
I think
he's
he
also
is interested
preoccupied
in her,
with
but
figuring out the mystery.
Yeah.
Where he's just
That's-
that's the sex is not on his mind.
That's fucking weird. If someone is like, I'm going to take you to work and spend the day with you at work, that's weird.
That's foreplay. Foreplay.
No, it's not.
That's what's coming up later.
That's
but
weird.
it never happens in the movie. So that's right. They did go to the fundraiser the night before the shoot.
Yep.
So the big fundraiser is for this company, or it's a fundraiser for him. He's trying to get a grant from James Coburn, who owns this.
Reston Industries, I think is what it is.
And at the dinner, as he's talking to James Coburn, Coburn knows about his patients who have gone and gotten both suicide or an accident, it looks like.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, no. It turns out that they're all connected to this digital matrix company, which all of a sudden James Coburn's
that's
like,
my wife.
she runs digital matrix.
Yes. It's like, this is very nefarious. He's like, oh, my wife runs it.
So, okay, we're connecting dots. They're like, he doesn't know anything. We're like, okay, they're shady, but we're still not going, we're not clear on like, or maybe you guys were, this point, we're like, okay, so what are they doing? So we're going to go find out, right? We're going to accompany her to Digital Matrix. What happened? What goes on
because he follows her to work.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
So she has to get naked and step
As you
on
do.
a Demolition Man type platform to get pulled down into a
Even just,
basement.
like, the kneel.
Why did she does the kneel? Yeah. But why why do you as the model have to enter this second room through a naked platform? You know what I'm saying? Because like
I'm gonna chalk it up to technology at the time, but there's no good explanation.
I guess
like
I thought it was
It's like
going to
a
raise up,
It's like
and
a
it went.
standing MRI. but,
Yeah.
like lowered
Right.
down.
Yeah.
She
She's like,
stands
scan her entire
on
body.
a circle. It's a platform that lowers into like a tube with like a rotational scanning device.
It's like the scanner at TSA,
yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yeah, but they're just
Yeah.
twisting you around. They want to scan every. This is the basic scanning of anybody who nowadays for
Laser
digital-
scans,
for,
right.
special effects.
Yeah.
They scan every actor's body
Yeah.
basically at this point
Mhm.
to get them to use them in big Marvel movies and stuff like that.
But it turns out that's actually what's happening, right? I
Right.
mean, because I think they lay it out like Albert Finney goes and talks with Coburn's wife, right, who shows him basically the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is it? What's Digital Matrix all about? What are they doing?
AI.
Yeah, so they're basically creating AI characters to star in commercials, and they have some sort of light thing encoded into the eyes that make it more like hypnotic.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't.
We don't know that yet.
He doesn't
Yeah.
find it,
Yeah.
but it's. I guess the idea that
The purpose
perfection
is to scan them and to use them digitally forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is a
because
problem we're
that way
running
we
into
can
now.
make
Right.
the perfect. Like it scores high on the audience test. Like this is the perfect image.
Yes.
Right.
The perfect movement.
And we see that, like, because they have the numbers on the screen for these girls of like what their ranking is, but then when they move, the score like dramatically goes down. So they're saying like even a perfect human model still can't maintain the perfect score.
Yeah,
but
what
if we
is
can do
whole,
the AI
when
version,
they move, it goes down. It's like what?
Because their movements are natural.
yeah,
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just not like landing right. There's not enough body roll, or the hair didn't flip the right way. Well, they can fix all that, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna
right.
have artificial actors.
And didn't they say that it was what $200,000 to like sell your likeness to this, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which the not unlike a problems we're hearing about now too.
Yeah.
Or it reminds me of even when you hear like a really popular musical act sells their catalog, and like Justin Bieber selling his catalog at his young age is like that. Just sounds like you
Ooh,
need
did he?
money.
Oh,
yeah,
shit. Oh.
yeah. So it's I don't know. It's
But
it's
maybe
crazy
more
how the
so,
same
like-
problems keep
like,
happening.
Like Kiss,
Yeah.
with what they're doing with theirs, they're doing the holographic
Yeah.
version
Yeah.
of their show. They sold that, and that is what the show will be from now on.
That's why
Kiss
now-
will live on in
That's
virtual,
crazy.
Yeah, the real guys
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah.
unmasked now because like a kiss with the makeup is a virtual thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
does that kind of make this movie prescient in
Very.
Oh, yeah.
This movie's very precious.
for 1981?
Very.
It's looking, I mean, I guess, I always see science fiction is a lot of times like a kind of a warning. Like, okay, I thought
Yep.
up some, crazy futuristic, scenario with the
You'd
warning that
think
you
we'd
don't
learn.
walk into it.
Right.
And they must be just frustrated because like every scenario that they come up with, everybody goes like, that's the coolest thing. We can do that. And then they make it happen. So
Yeah, should we stop writing science fiction because we keep trying to adopt it,
Right.
even though the warnings are all in there? But
Well, I mean, Jurassic Park is the one where he actually, I think, got the maxim, right? Where just because they could,
Yes.
didn't mean they should.
Right.
Right.
yeah,
That's the thing that's the
That
line
maxim
Michael
will
Crichton
live
was working for his
forever.
whole life.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not
That
going to
is
listen to it, though.
no,
Yeah.
no, that's for us.
Oh, I know.
That's for us to be like, They fucked up.
What the most frustrating thing is, just like anything humans develop as a technology, there is an appropriate use for it. But of course, we're not doing that.
No.
We're doing
Right,
the complete wrong use for it.
No, because
Like,
everyone's going, what else could we do with it?
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say, when humans discover something new, the first two thoughts are, can I fuck it? Can I eat it? You know, so
Yeah,
the
that's my
fuck
thought
part, we'll get a
process
lot of
most days.
mileage out of the fuck part with this, unfortunately. So
They're already here. The AI,
companion's not far off of a future, I'm afraid.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of, so we're like, okay, that's what's happening. They're making digital models. They aren't going to need the original models, so they're killing the original models, and right, because
Okay, well, all right, you said two different actions. I'd like you to link them for me. Can you do that?
well,
Can you do that?
this is where I rely on Michael Crichton and the film to
Don't
link
rely
these
on
two
Michael
things.
Crichton.
I mean, he is a writer. He should be able to write a coherent story, right? That's what's so annoying is it's like
You had
can-
one job.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I think like this is just what happens when you have one person in control of too many aspects of a movie. It's
Probably.
like it makes sense to them, but they don't have enough eyes on it.
We
Something
had
So.
was
this problem
cut?
last week too.
Yeah.
It
know-
or maybe, but
Was this a novel? Was he adapting a novel?
But
It was
nothing
not a
said
novel.
it
He
was,
wrote it for
no.
screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the blame is solely on him. for
Yeah.
I guess
this.
that's what, because there was a sense of frustration that I apologize for my outbursts later on in the movie, but I was so frustrated that I'm sitting there going like, okay, it's a murder mystery. We know who's doing it, right?
Yep.
We know ultimately that it's going to lead back to James Coburn.
Yep.
His henchman or something is killing these women because they've been a part of this program.
But why?
Because, well, that's what I didn't get. I thought maybe, right, you would scan these women and then you're going to use their likeness in perpetuity.
Yeah.
But we never see a commercial with any of the dead women in it.
At the end we do.
Yeah.
Is that well? That's what I'm wondering. Is the end montage where we see Susan Day? She's in one of them, but do we see the?
Well, yeah,
we
there's
see the other ones,
there's,
don't we?
aren't they in the Ravish commercial?
Yeah,
But
right,
wasn't it
'cause
done
they-
before she was...
But the Ravish commercial has all the other women in it. Who there's that, or the shampoo commercial where it's got a bunch of them in it. Also,
Yeah, okay, fun fact about all those
Oh.
women. They're all Playboy Playmates.
I believe it.
Anna White was in this movie, too.
Yeah.
She's one of
But
them.
also,
And
Playboy Playmate.
one of them is Gina Keogh, who was one of the first Real Housewives to ever exist. She started the original franchise of Real Housewives of Orange
Right.
County. I saw her and I was like, oh my God. Because, like, you know, when they introduced the Housewives, they have like a sizzle reel of all their
Oh,
like
sure,
career
sure.
highlights.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
bet
like,
you
how do you
that
know
scene
me?
from Looker was in that sizzle reel.
Yeah,
But okay, I was trying to find it, but I can't find the exact thing. But what if I told you, Helen, there was a very important scene cut out of this movie?
Ooh,
I
what
would
was
believe
cut?
you. Yeah.
Okay,
Because
so
it
where
feels
does
like
it
a
fall
couple
in the
things.
plot?
Okay.
Like somewhere around here?
I don't know where exactly it falls because they just say it's a scene that was deleted. But apparently when the women died, their faces were like particularly scarred up, which they also did not show us this in the movie. This was other content that was cut. And the idea
They did say that at one point.
Yeah.
The cop says
Oh, you
that.
said
Yes.
they were obliterated.
Yeah.
or
Yeah, the
something
cop
like
said that.
Okay.
So the thought was that their faces are intellectual property of Digital Matrix now because they scanned them in and basically signed their rights away. So they were killing the women so that they couldn't exist out in the world using the intellectual property, their face.
I believe that.
So they bought the rights to their face and destroyed the original
they,
content.
Yes,
Basically.
yeah,
But
exactly.
then you
Okay.
can't
All right,
use...
all right,
no,
well, no, all
they
right,
have
so-
the scan,
So
Yeah.
to prevent
so they don't need them anymore.
I know, but
And
if
but
you-
their
if-
face.
is this to prevent the women from like going off
Yes.
and advertising with other
Yes,
companies?
because they
Like,
own
we-
your face now.
Right,
so you,
so,
yeah.
now, all right, so now we own this property.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
can license
Yep.
this out. This
Yes.
is a money
You
making.
can't work for anyone
Yes.
else
Yes.
but who
Yes.
we want
Yes.
your
Yes.
face to be for.
It'd be
Okay.
like if Chris Evans said, I did Captain America for you, but I don't want to do it anymore. And then went and still did conventions wearing all the Captain America gear. They'd be like, wait, you don't own that character. We own that character.
Well, this is. It might be more like it's like Chris Evans. You are Captain America. That is your image.
And since
you
you're
are
not
allowed,
since you're not him anymore, you don't
Right.
get to exist.
right.
Yeah.
You don't. You're not
Yeah.
allowed to do anything outside
Right.
of this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get this as a theoretical, like, okay, I see what you're saying, you know, as far as licensing and stuff, But it's like you can't kill Chris Evans and then still have 30 years worth of Captain America. People will go, wait, how is that possible? I thought he died.
They
30
won't know
years
he's
ago.
dead. They don't know these women. They're just in commercials. They're not
Right.
famous.
And we're looking at Peter Cushing, who was dead for
Yeah.
many years in a Star Wars movie.
Right.
Recently, right?
We're seeing it now. Yeah.
So
we're bringing
And that's right,
people
we're-
back from the dead all the time in
Yeah.
television and film now.
We're told that his family was okay with that. I guess
but
that's what I'm
but
like,
That's
you know.
it. We're told that.
Yeah. The movie assumes that these women exist in a vacuum, then they have no personal
Well, they're just
relations
doing
or
commercials.
anything.
They're not famous. They're just that's almost the saddest part of the movie is that they're selling their souls and all this low stakes stuff just to be in shitty commercials. Not even movies.
Right. You say a
Like,
vacuum, it just doesn't show like the families of these women.
Right.
Going and be like,
We're
what
like-
happened to my daughter?
Yeah.
And why are you still using her image?
Yeah.
It's just not a plot that is they don't think is valid for the movie, which
Yeah.
I mean it's not, but it
That's a
exists
pretty
out
big
there.
like stumbling block.
It is.
Though,
No,
for-
it is. I agree. But
He's just like,
this
move-
movie's
moving
not
on,
concerned
moving
with
on.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
moving forward. But that is the thing that we will all think of watching this movie.
So Susan Day is upset now when she figures out that like, oh, everybody else who's gone through this process has been killed and you didn't say anything about it.
Right.
And while he was in for the tour of Digital Matrix, Albert Finney
The
stole.
Looker Room.
Yeah.
Also, that's an acronym. I don't think we said that.
Oh yeah, do you know
Looker,
what
I
looker?
wrote it
Yeah,
down.
did
Because
you
we're like,
get
oh,
it
down?
she's a looker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Find it?
Yeah.
that great theme
I hate
song.
It's,
I hate it. It's not good. It's not a good acronym.
It's not a good acronym.
No.
Light, ocular, oriented, kinetic, emotive responses.
Fuck that. It's a bad
That's a
acronym.
bunch of science words
bad
put
acronym.
together.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the plot does continue to thicken. There is more to it than just
Yes.
killing the models. So
there's
they
a
can
rad
be
theme
in-
song.
Oh,
right.
thank
She's
God.
a looker. Is the chorus. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
get a reprise.
we do.
Yes.
It's got like this, the whole movie, it has this like rockin' 80s synth thing, and it sounds like John Carpenter did the music.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I was like, this is like Halloween 3. Like we're not too far away
That's
from,
what I
from
felt.
Halloween
It felt
3.
like- yeah, it felt like we're getting into the Halloween 3, very synthy, very I felt that.
And I guess the fact that there's a Carpenter actress in the movie.
Indeed.
So he steals a key card so he can get a closer look at the one room, the looker room that he was not permitted to go into.
Yeah.
And so at night, he and Susan Day sneak into the building. This is after the henchman. There's like a very long sequence in which the henchman flashy thingies him apparently in his own house looking for the stolen key card, which apparently he does not find because, God damn it, Albert Finney has hid that thing in the best hiding
I
spot
love
ever.
this.
The corner of a
I love
whiteboard.
this.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
a bad idea.
No.
No, this is genius.
It's your best shot. To
It's
just put
genius.
Put it
Just
against
he leans it against a poster that's the same color.
yeah.
That's
and
it.
It's just like no one. I wouldn't
It's
look there.
genius.
Yeah, it's great.
How many times have you lost something because it blended in with whatever you lost
Duh,
in here?
right.
Like, it's
Right,
genius.
but if you remember, it's blended in.
But I guess that's also
Amazing.
where Albert Finney learns about he suffers the effect of the device,
Yes,
the flashes and
the
losing
flash
time.
gun and losing time and everything. Yeah,
And so he's like, wait, there's something going on here. What has happened to me? So they break in, and there's this whole little plot thread that Crichton introduces, which is either a holdover from Westworld or a foreshadowing to Runaway about the robots.
This is the movie that bridges the two.
right.
Yeah.
Runaway was
It
84.
really is.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is.
What do they have going on here? Like how are they
part?
going to get into the looker room?
Well, well, first of all, no one's key card works, and these people are dumb enough to think if they just keep trying, it'll work. And it's like,
Yeah.
my immediate thought when they were doing that was like, they're definitely getting a record of how many times you're trying this,
Right,
and then we
yeah.
see a computer
You see it
showing.
happening, yeah.
You never your debit card doesn't work. You give it a lick and then run it through again. It's like you've never done that.
Ew!
No, I don't lick my debit card.
I've never licked it, but have you ever done the put it in a plastic bag and then run it through?
Yeah.
Yeah, my retail days. Yeah,
strip
yeah,
and
yeah.
I've seen
What are you
people.
talking about?
Holly,
That's disgusting.
I have worked retail. I have seen people lick their debit cards, run it through, and have it work. It has happened.
The horrors
The
of
world we
working
live in,
retail.
Holly. I'm
Yeah.
just saying what I've seen.
I don't like this.
I don't
world.
like it either, but it has happened.
There's these.
Yep.
There's electrical tracks in the floor,
Yes.
and we have a little like 1981 version of a Roomba, basically.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit better than Roomba because he actually picks up the trash and empties it into him like a little mini dumpster.
Yeah.
And they ride him into the room.
Yeah, because
They literally sit on him and ride him in. Yeah.
I can't get into the room, but the sweeper has to go in there.
Yep.
Right. This felt like a video game. It's
Yes.
like, I can't get into this room. I'll go into this next room. Like, what? Wait, what is this robot doing?
Yeah.
Maybe we follow it.
Yeah.
We get into this other room.
Ride the Roomba.
Yes.
It's very fun.
If only that robot would pick up a gun, you'd have to call the runaway
Yeah, exactly.
squad.
Then it would be Runaway. Yeah.
Because, everyone go watch Runaway. It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
This was a similar shape to the robots
It
in
was.
Runaway,
It-
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Because they were just a box with a stick on top.
Right, yeah, because Michael Crichton at this time was just like, all right, he loved this.
Yeah.
Like, what is technology at this point? All right, well, it's boxes that do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can they do?
But at least he foresaw this. I
He
mean,
did, he
you know,
did.
I mean, like a kind of semi-automated
I mean,
office
what tracks
building.
on the floor that a
Yeah.
robot can follow to go do something?
It goes and
Right.
recharges itself at
Yeah.
the wall
Right.
and
Yeah,
like
it
all that
plugs
stuff.
in everything,
It's
yeah.
rudimentary, but it's like, oh, I mean, basically they had the concepts that we're living with
You got to
now.
start at rudimentary to expand upon it, and
Yeah.
this is what they're doing. Yeah,
So what do they find in the looker room? And I'm going to give you a hint, audience. It's the entire movie as handily available
basically.
here.
Yeah.
It's files. They go through files and get all the answers about what the looker
Files,
program is
mustachioed
doing.
henchmen,
Yep.
flash guns.
Yep.
The file has every answer to every question that you would want about anything going on in this movie.
It's all the blueprints of
Yep.
the devices.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Except why. It doesn't have the answer to why.
Don't know
is
why.
just a
well,
far-
we've been
it's just a
talking
far
about
thing.
the devices because there's the central one, which is a gun. What does that do?
It flashes light that causes you to skip time. You have a time gap. I
Yeah, it
guess.
basically like it,
But it doesn't. But it doesn't track. It doesn't.
No,
make sense
it doesn't.
because it's used earlier in the movie, and Albert Finney literally like looks at the clock and realizes that he's lost like an hour of time.
Yeah.
But later on, they're using it as a weapon, and it just like stuns him for a few seconds.
It's like
Right.
seconds. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
the time, the technical aspects of this don't make sense to the viewer.
Well-
like, how long do these flashes last? How much time do you lose? None of this is
like,
clear.
can you set it to different times?
Right.
It's just like twirling
There
a
was a
dial,
dial,
on his
yes,
gun and then
yeah.
shot him. I would understand
Like, this
it
is a
more.
10
Right.
second
They
or
do
5
none of
second.
that.
But it would
Right.
also make no sense if you're in a fight to set it to 5 seconds.
Right.
But
It's-
also we get a car chase where it is hitting the character. But
Okay, and do you have to look directly at it?
right,
I think so.
Like if you're looking off to
Yeah.
the side, do you only
Yeah.
get some of it? Or-
And sunglasses is the only defense you need. And
Right.
nobody has sunglasses until the very end.
Well, they have
Yeah.
mirrored sunglasses
they're
because
reflective
it reflects
sunglasses.
the light
Yeah.
There
back.
are a lot of questions when it comes to
It's-
like technically how does
But
this
it's
work?
described as a gun that gives the user temporary invisibility by the fact
Right.
that it basically wipes your mind
right.
that you
Right.
saw
And
the
so
person.
Albert Finn is getting flashed and then beaten up by invisibility.
yes,
Basically.
yes.
It's like, who hit me? And that scene goes on forever.
Right.
And
How would you like
oh
to just
my
get
God.
kicked in the balls out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And be like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, why didn't they just shoot him? You know, like, I mean, I
Well,
get.
all right, we get into a discussion of like, all right, why light guns versus real guns, and when do you switch to the other one?
Right.
Which is like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to stun this man? Are you trying to hurt him? Or are you trying to get rid of him permanently?
Right.
And we don't know.
No.
But it's just like, it would, because in times where it would make sense to get rid of this guy permanently, you're using a light gun to just beat him up a little bit.
Right.
But it all comes
Weird.
back to why were they trying to frame him in the first place?
Right.
All right, I'm still working on that. Still processing. Still going with what the movie has given us to this point, and I have no idea.
Yes.
It's all up to you, Colin.
Cool.
Cool.
Right? Because
I got nothing. Yeah.
again, he would have been like, you wouldn't have him investigating if you
If you
hadn't
just
have
shot
tied
him in the
him
head, yeah.
to the thing in the first
Right.
place.
Right.
Like, you didn't need an alibi for women who have suicide or accidental deaths.
Right.
You don't
He's
need.
the loose end, and you have an ample opportunity to just get rid of him. But
Yeah.
no, you want to keep using the light gun on him.
The light gun has an antidote.
Oh. What is it?
Does it?
It's a smoke grenade.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
that
Yes.
diffuses
Just
Right.
the thing.
diffuses it.
Right.
Yes.
Forgot about
That was
that.
so dumb. I forgot. Yeah.
And there's another device. This is the really insidious one that is actually the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the light thing that you mentioned earlier. So what is
Yeah.
this?
Right.
So their eyes get programmed to temporarily hypnotize you when you make
The
eye
eyes of-
contact of the models in the commercials.
Yeah.
So
there's
you
a blue
watch the
light.
Yes.
commercial.
Yes.
So it's like subliminal
Yes.
hypnosis kind of thing.
And we didn't mention that there's like this fucking Z plot of a senator that wants to run
Oh,
for
yeah.
president, and he thinks he
Right.
needs his eyes fixed so that he looks younger. But that doesn't really come to anything.
I know. I
It
thought
doesn't
that
make
was
sense.
actually going to be like, that's where we're going,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
they can give you the perfect candidate
Right.
and a subliminal hint and
Right.
totally like mind fuck you, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
they don't. They tease that and you're like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
implications. But then they're like, and then buy a household cleaning product.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
I
go
think-
on a vacation.
I think they're just alluding to like where it's going to go.
what we can do
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
this
like
technology.
this is where it's going to go eventually.
But was the Dead Zone out at this point?
Yeah.
80. Oh shit, was that 82?
Because I was like, they went that way and did it really well, you know?
I think that's 82. And that book had been written before, so
Yeah.
it's possible that Crichton had read it.
Mm.
But I don't know. So it doesn't go that way. It is basically saying
83.
83. Coburn has created with his wife, right?
Mm.
A mass hypnotism
Mhm.
platform,
Right.
and he's pitching it to all these folks in the industries is
Mhm.
like, here's
Right.
what we can do with television commercials
Right.
going forward.
Basically, hypnotize your audience into buying your product,
Yep.
or electing an official, or what have you. Like,
Whatever your message is, we
Right.
can,
We can do it.
implant it in their subconscious.
yes,
I love the set piece of the third act the most. I think this is the most interesting part of the movie is
It
when
is.
he gets to the sets, the like digital sets where they're shooting and not shooting, I guess, live demonstrating all these commercials to
Yeah.
like the stakeholders, I guess. And it's all these sets on like a checkerboard floor that is like green laser checkerboards, like Tron, you know?
Like
yeah,
Tron,
yeah.
Anybody who's ever seen, like a VR set, where
Right.
It's just like it's supposed to be blank, and then it fills it. Like
Uh-huh.
if you played video games, you know this set, and it's. I was kind of shocked to see it today. I'm just like, oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
Like I know this, and for it to be coming from 1981, I'm just like, oh shit! We've had this idea way back then, and it continues to go through till now.
Even how like as the different commercials change, the sets rotate and moving it out of
Yeah.
position, and
Yeah.
somehow he ends up in all of them. It's amazing,
Yeah.
Albert.
It is. We do get into a funny experience where
It is funny.
It is very.
It's
funny.
like this movie's version of that scene from Shocker where he goes through all the TV channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that, or it's like Stay Tuned, where they
Yeah,
end up
Stay
different
Tuned,
shows.
yeah,
yeah.
Where It's just because they're trying to show you these different commercials and how they work, but the henchmen and Albert Finney make their way into them and show up in places they shouldn't be, and so the perfect commercial is happening, but then like Albert Finney looks above a
Yeah.
countertop.
Yeah, and
in
the stakeholders
scene,
start
'cause
cracking
he's trying
up,
to
yeah.
hide from things, and or the henchman shows up
Mhm.
with his mustache dead on a table, or like it's very
And
funny.
the actors in the scene aren't reacting to any because they're AI,
Right,
so they're not
right.
actually in the scene.
Right, because they don't see everything else, but there's an audience watching at this point. The
Right.
the audience who they're trying to sell all
the
this
live
shit to.
studio audience.
Yes.
basically, yeah.
I do like that we cut between what they're seeing on the monitor and
Yes.
then what's actually happening where there's
Yes.
no model there with Albert Finney.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
no,
nice.
a lot of that's
Yeah.
very good.
Mhm.
And, yeah, oh,
It's good in its execution for 1981.
yeah, very good.
And, you know, obviously the idea of it, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to use virtual actors to sell these products. Why
Not at
was there actual physical sets? Like, because I guess
I
that's what we're
guess they
saying.
don't
It's like,
have the technology to do both, right?
To create so much of the digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even they knew back then there is some limitation, I
Yeah.
guess. And so they're just like, we'll have a set, but we can populate it with all this other shit.
Well, and
Yeah.
So I was thinking about the way they were shooting her on the volleyball beach and how they needed her to hit that exact pose, and maybe that's what they have to do to track the person in the scene, you know?
Yes.
So it's just
Yeah,
easier to
right.
have a physical set to be the reference point for
Oh,
the tracking.
yeah.
because it's got automated cameras
Yeah.
and stuff. The camera keeps moving around
Mhm.
the
Yes.
giant warehouse looking for its mark.
Right.
So that, you
And
know.
we get these kind of stutter effects where it shows the scene empty of people, the digital scene of the green blocks and everything, and then it kind of shows everything coming together, which nobody else sees but we see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is it's like they're computing the scene in real time and we see it. It's very interesting. Yeah,
Michael
fascinating.
Crichton, did any of you see Disclosure?
Mm-mm.
Well,
the
I've heard about
Michael Douglas
Michael
and
Douglas, yeah.
Demi Moore movie?
Yeah.
Because isn't like, I know it's like a, like a Basic Instinct kind of thing, but I think there's like a VR
it.
component to that
Yeah.
movie where they're creating this virtual reality thing. So like he was still going after that
yeah.
idea, like I think like even years later.
Yeah, this seems right in Crichton's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
All of this stuff.
So, and Westworld, I guess, is a virtual environment that, so there's, well, we talked about there was a car chase with, the henchmen and everybody's trying to shoot each other with the blackout guns.
Is this the worst car chase?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Shooting,
pretty bad.
it's not good.
And
It's
like,
like
because there's
Just shoot a real gun and you could kill a guy. But
Right.
you're trying to
Like-
blank him out so he crashes and then
but we don't even see the crash. We
don't
just
see the
he
crash.
blanks and we wake up to the aftermath.
But we also don't know like the laws of this light gun and what you need to see to affect, because we see the same thing we've seen before where it affects someone, that digital effect where it's just like blasting into their eyes and everything. But it happens in the scene many times, but it doesn't affect him. Like he didn't get the full effect until at one point he does. Like it's very.
yeah, because he's like covering
Rules
his
are not-
hand with his, but the
Yeah.
thing's going blip, 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 right into his eyes and
It's
whatever.
also in broad daylight. Does that have an effect on it? Like we don't
Right.
know the rules of what's happening here,
All right,
so I don't know like how I should feel and how it's affecting the character I care about.
Now let me lay this out so I have this right. So
Go for it.
he is chased by the bad guys. He gets the flashy thing. He blacks out. He crashes.
Yep.
He gets out of the car before the police arrive and hides in the bushes.
Yep.
All of the witnesses are like, he's right over there. The police can't find him. He's very sneaky. He is able to go. He's going to hide in the back of a police car because who would look for him there?
Okay.
So he can escape the scene. He falls asleep. When he wakes up,
Okay. All right. We're going through a lot.
I know, but
Like, why does he get?
am I right?
Why, this
You're,
is
you're
what.
right.
All right.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Colin,
he
you
wakes up.
You are explaining what happens,
and he wakes up
with no motivation behind it.
and he talks to the cops, and it turns out the cops are not cops. They're actually security guards for the event that's happening tonight where they're showing the stuff off
How
to
did
the
he know that? Did he know that before? Why did he get in the car? Because it's a cop car. What was his purpose before he got in the cop car? He just ends up where he's
Right.
supposed to be. Like this is where the movie. There's a big chunk of about 5 to 10 minutes here where I'm just like, none of this makes sense. Whereas we were kind of following it before
Yeah.
that, but right now I'm just like, we are doing this out of convenience because we need this character to be here.
Yep, and there was
Yeah.
like no
That
way
is
he
what
would
the movie
even
is.
know that event was taking place.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they literally the movie brings him there.
Yes,
And drops him
We're-
off.
We're looking at you,
Sartain,
Yeah,
Sartain,
we're looking
yeah.
at you, Sartain.
yeah, he got
it's just like,
sartained.
we'll
Yeah.
bring him here because we need him to be here.
But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't make sense though because they already kidnapped her. So like that would be motivation enough for him to go there.
Right.
So they don't need to have this like.
Because that would be an easier jump, right?
Mhm.
That he would be
Right.
like, it's them. They did it because
Yeah.
that's digital
They
matrix. They're-
kidnapped her.
I gotta
He's
go
trying
there
to
and
save
rescue her.
That's
Right.
already going to get him there. Why do they need this whole like?
I
I don't know.
don't know.
Would you like to hear James Coburn's thoughts on
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
I would love it. I would
hear
love to
James
hear
Coburn's
this.
thoughts
He
on it.
said in 1991 when asked about an interview, my part was pretty much on the cutting room floor. They really pissed that film away. They had Albert Finney running around in a security guard's uniform throughout the film, and it didn't make any damn sense.
Yep.
It could have been a good picture. It was about how television controls. It was about how commercials manipulate people to buy products, politicians, whatever. But they cut that film up for a television print. I don't know why they did that. They spent some bread on that picture, too. It was a $12 million production.
Wow.
Wow.
For 81. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It seems
mean-
like Coburn
all
had
that-
a good picture of it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know
Yeah.
why they fucking fucked
I mean,
with it.
I feel like that's our review.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
yeah. Thank you, James Coburn.
Yeah.
We're done.
I love that
Yeah.
he called out the security guard part, especially.
Yeah,
It makes
'cause
no
they were
sense.
like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
there is, I think, maybe a novelization that might fill in some, could maybe something based on the original script.
That's
I don't know.
great. Is it on screen?
No.
It's not.
No.
So,
So it doesn't
matter.
count. Extracurriculars,
Yep,
yeah, don't
doesn't matter.
count.
So there's a cat and mouse chase through the virtual set. Well, they're real sets with virtual people.
Yeah.
That the shareholders are watching. So at some point after the henchman, the mustachioed henchman, is killed
Mm.
on screen, so everybody can see it.
Yep.
James Coburn,
Which, by the way, he's the main character of this movie, and he doesn't have one word.
Not one line.
Not one line.
he's
Love
just
the man.
heavy.
I want to see
Yeah.
what else he's in. But you also mentioned that James Coburn is now taking it upon himself to come down and deal with this problem. The man is in charge of a big corporation.
Right.
Has probably
literally his name.
Yeah, right. but also probably has like multiple millions of dollars at his disposal. Why is he himself going down there to deal with this problem?
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes no sense.
In which he is being exposed to his shareholders the fakeness of what he's broadcasting to them,
because he knows he knows how it works in the product, and if you're on that set, you could be caught on a camera and shown to everybody.
He should know this intimately.
Yeah, but no, he's just wandering around with a gun hunting down the Albert Finney character.
Sure. And not caring that he's on camera with a gun, maybe shooting people.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite make sense for that character. Because we've seen he's a very cautious character. He talks to his wife. He's just like, we're good, right? Because they can come and investigate. We haven't done anything wrong, or at least nothing we can't hide. So we're good. This man knows that, we've hid stuff and, we shouldn't make it public. And yet he does this.
Yeah.
I think this is a good example of when leadership has no idea how things actually go on the floor.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they go down to the floor and try it. Yeah. You're right.
That's what this is.
You're right. I agree with him.
Well, he is, I think, killed in front of everybody, right?
Everybody.
Dorian
world.
Harewood, the police inspector, magically appears somehow. And
appears and then doesn't give a shit that Albert Finney and Susan Day are just walking off the set once this is over.
No, you're good.
Because, again, there was the whole, the police are in on it. Well, is he or isn't he?
No, apparently not. He is
Apparently
investigating, but he doesn't know what to do. And at some point, it's like, well, whatever Albert Finney's going to do now, we have to watch. Because that's going to lead us to the conclusion of this case. We can't figure it out on our own. But he's there, armed, and he actually shoots James Coburn, I believe, he delivers the kill shot. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Your confusion is warranted because I also don't remember it.
He does. Yeah. Albert Finney tries to shoot with the light gun, but he gets actually shot in the throat by the cop.
Right. He does get shot in the throat.
Coburn
In the throat. Yeah, Coburn gets shot in the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
In front of all the shareholders and everything, so they know what's going on at this point. And then Albert Finney and Susan Day just kind of walk off set, no questions asked.
Yeah. Credits.
Right.
The cop's
so,
gone.
I just have one question.
Just one?
What's that?
Why'd they kill it? Well, I guess you said because they have their license.
Yeah.
Right? Why are they killing all the women?
But again, this
But it's not in the movie.
Yeah,
though.
I was like, this was Michaela explaining.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was not in the
exactly.
movie.
It's not in the movie.
It's not. None of it's in the movie. No.
Nope.
And why did they try to frame Albert Finney?
Right.
Yeah, that was the other one.
Right.
Like,
Why?
Right. When
What was the
just
point?
chalk it up to what is happening in
Right.
suicides and what have you.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
But at least we get
He
a
didn't
reprise
ever
if
have
she's a
to be
looker.
involved at all.
Right.
Yes,
and if you are gonna try and frame him, kill him sooner.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, they let him just walk around and try and figure this shit out.
Right.
When they're
Once he becomes a threat enough that at the end they're like, we got to kill this guy because he's
Right.
jeopardizing
Right.
our whole operation.
Yeah, but if the whole thing is to blame him, it's just like we're leaving him loose
Yeah.
end, kind of just walking around.
It's a
out
messy movie.
Messy.
Yeah.
Messy.
But don't take our word for
But is it too messy to recommend?
it.
That's the question.
Ha
Well, let's find out. We're going to tell you what we thought of Looker individually and whether we would recommend it to you. But first, we're going to read some of your mail. In order to do that, we're going to have to summon our mailman, Igor. Bring us the mail.
Masters, the mail. I've got the mail. So many letters. Our followers are rising.
Why, thank you, Igor.
I
He's
wonder.
not a looker.
I was going to say, do you think you could put him through the scan and make an AI version of him?
I think it would break the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some real weird measurements.
Too many
out of-
different parts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Igor, your areolas are just like
He just has one big one.
Yeah.
just one in
In the
With a
middle
head
of his
in it.
chest.
like
Yeah.
Cyclops.
Yeah.
It also shoots lasers.
Before we proceed, we should let the good folks at home know how they can participate on this interactive portion of our show by following along on Facebook,
Facebook.com/Saturday Night Freak Show.
on X,
That's that freak show.
by email,
SaturdayNightFreakShow@yahoo.com.
or on Threads and Instagram at Saturday Night Freak Show. About tonight's movie, Looker. Mark Daniels writes in and says, you may say this movie is dated, poorly written, poorly acted, etc., but this movie has always been a guilty pleasure for me. The plot centers on the corporation abusing the general public through television. Yep. This is so prescient as today they use social media, and who controls social media algorithms can also control the people.
Yep.
Michael Whitaker says it's weird to see a Michael Crichton movie not based on one of his books, I assume. This one is about a futuristic theme park where suddenly things go wrong.
Kind of.
I mean, it's in the neighborhood. Yeah.
And Simon Rees says it's a very prophetic film.
Yep.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
Yep.
Grossly so.
Yeah. Uncomfortably so, yes.
Last week we watched a movie called Tough Guys Don't Dance.
Yeah, we did.
Chris Huddleston, who I believe recommended the movie
He
to Holly.
did. I forgot. I think I forgot to mention that.
No,
last-
you did. You
Did I mention
yeah,
it?
You mentioned
Okay,
it, yeah.
cool. I wanted to make sure, but yeah,
No, you mentioned
Seahud's is the one that told me about this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Seahud says this really should have
Which
a
means
much,
we can blame him.
Yeah.
but we all recommended
we
it.
liked
We
it.
did. We can
Thank
still
you.
blame him.
Well, he says this really should have a much bigger cult following. An infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters could eventually write Shakespeare, but it only took one Norman Mailer and one typewriter to create Tough Guys Don't Dance.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
It was well put.
The week before, we watched a movie called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
And Mark Harrison writes in and says, what do we think about the color scheme of her cheerleader uniform? It's a little odd combination to me.
It's Lakers
That is.
colors, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's Lakers colors.
Yellow and
Purple.
purple.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Very cheerleader-ish. I like it.
And that
Very
was
90s.
always
Yes,
the
Very 90s.
Lakers colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
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 And that's Los Angeles. So
Yeah.
she's
Oh, I
in
liked
Los
it.
Angeles. So that's what we think.
I like
Makes
And
sense
plus,
to
it's
me.
like that pastel. Is it pastel? But it's that it feels 90s.
Mhm.
And we have
yeah, very
a local high school that has those colors.
Yeah,
so
we
it's
do.
normal for us
Mhm.
too.
Right.
Mhm.
It's a good contrast. These
Yeah.
colors look good together. So, yeah, I'm good for it.
Well, there you go. Well, thank you all for writing in. We really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Now we're going to go around the table and tell you what we thought of tonight's movie, Looker, starting with.
Holly, what do you think about Looker?
You know what? I didn't like it.
Okay.
It was a hot mess.
Truly.
It was a
truly,
hot fucking
truly.
mess. It set up so many questions that went unanswered. We had to fill in a lot for this movie to make any sort of sense. Yeah, it wasn't exciting. It was boring. Like, it'd be different if there was, like, you know, pointless chase scenes that were exciting, but no, these weren't. I feel like the one thing that actually got our attention was that stunt at the beginning, falling on the car. That was impressive, but beyond that, there was nothing impressive about this movie. Yeah, no, I nope, hot mess. Can't recommend. Colin, what'd you think?
I don't recommend it either. I mean, I was sitting there trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, and you know, some of the I guess prophetic parts of the script, you know, where you're sitting there going like, oh, I mean, it's interesting, you know, you can point back to this historical document as like, you know, it foresaw, I'm sure. Whenever I say, you know, I'm always like, my own knowledge of science fiction, you know, novels, you know, spanning the years from like the 50s on or the 30s on is limited. So I always go like, is this the first time that somebody kind of foresaw this future? Is this the first movie? It's the first one that I'm aware of, you know, in the timeline. This is 1981, talking about stuff that eventually did come true. And sounding warning bells, and you know, here we are doing it anyway. I mean, nobody's died from it nefariously, I guess,
that
yet. So there can, so that we can have. Well, now they have what's a. You heard of? I think I brought this up before. You ever heard of a Japanese pop singer called Hatsune Miku?
You have not brought this up before.
No, yeah.
You have not
Hatsune
brought up any
Miku,
Japanese
something
pop
like
singer.
that. She does not exist. She is a virtual avatar
I think
and
I know what you're
has
talking about,
like a recording career, and she performs live, and she's not real. It's a hologram or a CG.
The
anime
gorillas do
thing.
that too. The gorillas are anime characters. Like
Yeah.
they're real musicians
Hatsune
writing the music and
Miku?
performing
No,
it, but
God damn, I can't remember her name.
but
But yeah, it's
the gorillas
weird.
is an anime band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that to me is like freaky. Like we don't care as long as the entertainment is still, you know, like the perfect pop singer Doesn't exist. I think there were a lot of, ultimately, the reason why it's like it's got all these ideas, it has some of these moments, but the reason why it fails is it doesn't work as a mystery where nothing makes sense. The characters' motivations are just, I can't understand them. I got to say, and yeah, like you're right. The chase scene, it was like it should have been. Like, he's not a good director of physical action. I don't think that's ever really been Michael Crichton's strong suit, even in Runaway or Westworld. And I'm going to admit, I have never seen Coma the whole way through, but I hear of that era.
Yeah, you should watch it.
That one's pretty good, right?
Yeah,
But it's more like a medical thriller.
Yes.
Yeah, with
but that's
some
the thing,
science
like,
fiction.
He can write a thriller. He can write
a
suspense,
medical-
that kind of thing, but he can't write action.
Yeah, and direct it either.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say pass on Looker. Sean, what do you think?
Fuck. Now I'm fucking undecisive. I think because of the prophetic nature of the movie, and because of its downfalls, and because of what it doesn't do, I'm gonna recommend this movie.
What?
Yeah, because I think there's if it doesn't make sense ultimately. Ultimately, it doesn't make sense. But
You weren't bored?
No, I wasn't bored. No. I think because of how we can relate to watching this in 2025, and considering this was made in 1981, I feel like because of the connection of the similar themes we can see happening in this movie versus, I mean, we related it to today pretty easily, and I think that's worth watching this movie. It's not gonna make sense ultimately in the end.
See,
but
to me, that made it more depressing.
Agreed, but I don't think I wouldn't dismiss a movie just for being depressing because it hits the target for us, like right there. No, I think because of what it says, what it said in 1981 and how that relates to us right now, I think that's worth looking at, and I think it's, yeah, I think there's enough in this movie that's going to make you think about. It's going to make you think about TV. It's going to make you think about how the internet affects us today. I think you can apply a lot of what we're going through today to this movie, and I think it does. I think it does work. In those regards, why they're killing the women after this whole thing will never make sense, and I have no explanation for you. There are unanswered questions you will have watching this movie, but I think he thinks about enough of what's going on. I mean, think about what actors are going through nowadays with they're suing because they don't want companies to use their images after they're gone. What is the life of an actor if your digital image can be used beyond what you say it is? Those AI, those, I think those elements of today are you can see in this movie now. I think there's a lot that connects us today to this movie from 1981.
So you're recommending it solely for the social commentary?
I think so. I think there's. I think it's worth it. I think there is, even if you do know it. I think I think we this group thinks about this a lot.
Yep.
But I think a lot of maybe our listeners don't. And I think you can in watching this movie and see how it relates to today. That was the fun of it for watching it for me. Fun of it. Depressing, utterly depressing. Yes, but it's also the flip side of the utterly depressing is like it's also fascinating. It still makes you think. It's still interesting to look at on a scientific standpoint. I like the movie, and I think you can get a lot out of it. I'm gonna recommend it because I think there's something in there that this movie will make you think, and I like that. So yeah, I'll recommend it. I almost said Tough Guys Don't Dance. What
Looker.
That too, though.
Looker. Yeah, Looker. Who knew? Yeah, I'll recommend Looker. I think it's worthy of your viewing and what you think about it. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend Looker. Michaela, take us home.
I do appreciate how prophetic and prescient it is. There's another movie I was waffling between that's of a similar theme that I'll save for later called Simone. Have you guys heard of this one?
Yeah.
Where that they literally make an AI generated actress. Yeah. I couldn't decide between this one or that one, but I thought the aesthetic of this one looked more interesting, and that one I think is like over 2 hours too. So, it is 94 minutes, but it is boring. Unfortunately, I can forgive like a nonsensical plot if it's entertaining.
Right.
Like last week, I feel like that was pretty nonsensical and it was entertaining.
Yep.
For Tough Guys Don't Dance. This was just boring and it didn't make any sense. And it just feels like, it does feel like weird scenes are cut out that are really important. And it's just, unfortunately, it's not a fun watch, or at least it wasn't for me. So, whereas I feel like The Dead Zone is also prescient and prophetic, but it's way more entertaining. So I would rather just watch something like that. I mean, dude, he literally holds up a baby as a human shield in that movie, like the politician does. Like, tell me that it's not far off from where we are right now. You know,
seriously.
I think that movie might be a little too disturbing to rewatch. Good luck, Sean. Good luck watching.
You say that, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna watch it now.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. But it was just too boring. That's unfortunate. Because it has a cool aesthetic and has a cool idea.
Yeah.
But Michael Crichton, man, he's just he drills down on specific details of things only he cares about. You know,
that is true. He is going for what he cares about.
Exactly.
That's very true.
And it's pass. I didn't enjoy it. I was bored, and it was only 90 minutes, and I was still bored.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I guess that's the final word on Looker. All right. Well, I was going to say something about Michael Crichton, but you're going to add the theme song to your playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
that's the other thing.
Sue Sod, I think it was Looker. She's a Looker.
Oh, yeah. I'll be working out to that tomorrow. Doing a lot of, what's the John Travolta, the Perfect?
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Doing a lot of perfect dances.
Yeah, it's perfect. For,
a lot of thrusting.
A lot of thrusting
for your aerobic workout.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to it.
All right, next week we're going to watch a movie that's chosen by
Colin. All right, Colin, what are we watching next week?
Well, Tough Guys Don't Dance put me in a frame of mind because I think we need to do the tribute to Wings Hauser. So we have to watch the movie's known for Vice Squad. Because we've talked about it so much.
Right.
We just have to do the movie.
I was going to say, we're very close, but I'm for it because I haven't watched the movie and I've always wanted to. So
it's because you couldn't for many years.
Unless you bought the Blu-ray.
It wasn't available. So that's why there's a
Factory for a while.
Yeah, I know, but that ended like a 30-year drought on Vice Squad.
All right.
Okay, so that's what we're going to watch next week. We hope you'll join us. And until then, ladies and germs, the basement is going dark.